I feel so sorry for Johnny Boy that he had to sit there and suffer through all of F.Dot's puns. Welcome back, everybody. You know, here's one of those weird stats that I like to bring up every promotion tournament, Supersonic. You go back to the Season 5 World Championship, the combination of Magnus, Metsanoris, and Remco, on different rosters, of course, they combined to play in 8 different matches at that tournament alone. Since then, this will be their 9th different series in the promotion tournament that they have combined to play since then. Here we go. We're going to be guaranteed to see a team out of the RLCS at the end of this. Who you got, Supersonic?
I've got Endpoint. They just look better throughout their series. This XCSM roster, Karen really didn't give me anything to get my hopes up going into this. Really, if they're gonna get it done, Remco is going to have to come alive and kind of throw Karen on his back and force this series. But I do expect this to go the way of Endpoint, especially if Relating Wave can get going. If he gets going, I expect this one to end fairly quickly. I would go the same side. If I only had the option of Game 7 or a sweep, I would expect the Endpoint sweep.
Nachito, double tap, and he's got it off the defensive miss.
And so far, that is looking like the option here. Is Endpoint going to take an early lead? 4 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock. Nachito with that early goal. I said I wanted to see Relating Wave get involved, but, you know, whoever can put the ball in the net, that will work.
Metsanoris with another defensive miss, and Magnus trying to make up for it now. That's going to be denied, and now it'll be Nachito out of his own corner. It has been a struggle for Metsanoris so far today, but he's still got plenty of time to turn it around. Metsanoris trying here. That would be Remco, forced to chase it down in the opposite corner. Magnus on target and right on the money.
There we go. Little quick decision making out of Magnus to get up for this one. He's there quickly. That's what needs to happen for this Karen roster right now. Something that I watched in the previous one, we just casted them in the last series, is Magnus would end up in the midfield a lot where the ball was in the air and he would kind of stall out like he was thinking about going up for the ball and then just eventually drive off. If you're not going to make the commitment, you need to get out to where you're going to be able to be in the play still. And he was kind of out of the play a lot of times, and it was that decision making, not necessarily his speed of play, but his decision of when to go that was the problem for him.
Almost another flash of brilliance from Remco. Now Metsanoris will score his first goal of the day. All set up, though, there by Remco.
Yeah, Remco up there and so close to making that shot that the defenders had to respect it. And that camera angle just took Metsanoris out of their field of view and left him with a pretty open, wide right side of that net.
That's trying to force its way through Nachito there. By the way, that the earlier goal by Magnus broke up a stretch of 16 minutes and 11 seconds that Karen had gone without scoring a goal. Again, dating back to the tail end of Game 1 of their previous series. Nachito over towards Remco. He was waiting, but well cleared by Endpoint. Nachito again trying to get over Metsanoris. It'll be Magnus lobbing one through, and Relating Wave easily throws one to the side. And they've got all the time in the world to work out of the defensive end, and what they do with it, they just throw the ball downfield, hoping for Karen to make a mistake, which they did plenty in the previous series. I feel like they could have done a lot better with that possession.
They had exactly that. What you said is they had all the time in the world to work that one down. Instead, they just bomb one down into the half where there's 3 defenders eagerly awaiting that delivery. Pick that ball up and bring it back downfield. You don't want to give those away and just add opportunities to your opponent's end. You don't want them to be able to have more shots on net. Control that ball. Take it downfield.
This Endpoint team, of course, discombobulators a season ago, did not go through the promotion tournament last season. They got in through the rival playoffs because, of course, there was the expansion to 10 teams in the RLCS going into this season. So this is their first time in the promotion tournament. Magnus challenging Relating Wave there. Metsanoris coming on as well. And he will run into Nachito. They both blow each other up. And Virtuoso will take over. Now Metsunoris against Nachito. Virtuoso is there. No follow-up in Relating Wave. Had to wait. And a good clearance, but not out of the zone just yet. Relating Wave going to take over again with a full tank of boost. Looking for Vert in front and got no power on that pass. And that is how the Endpoint attack dies here. Relating Wave will let this go. Now Nachito trying to bring one around the board. Against Remco. Slow going, trying to get to the center line. And now Magnus booms it downfield. Nachito's got to get there to disrupt Remco's effort. So Remco will just go steal some boost. Now Relating Wave. Deep in the Karen corner. And he'll center for Nachito. Nobody back at all for XTSM because of that collision at midfield.
Great touch from Relating Wave to put that one out and beat the defender. Sets it up beautifully for Nachito. Relating Wave is that guy that I was looking for to make a difference in this series. He's that guy on the team. He's 36% of their offensive pressure of their goals. 41% of their pass plays come courtesy of Relating Wave. He is a big part of this offense, and he needs to be involved if they want to take the series.
Oh, another chance as this is given away to Nachito, and this game's been turned on its head.
The duo right now is Relating Wave to Nachito. Back-to-back goals for the duo there. Relating Wave, again, being that assist player. He's coming alive, and he's getting plays and opening up situations for his team to make these goals.
Karen led this game for quite a while. Now they've got to scramble to tie it up again, and another hairline save. Just barely made by Relating Wave. More heartbreak for Karen as this is falling in the general direction of their goal, and more time comes off the clock. A great back pass to Nachito, and that's going to force Karen to go the length of the field again, and they cannot. Endpoint steals game one.
Man, that series, I really wanted Relating Wave to come alive. I was talking about him here and there throughout the series. At one point, I looked down at 2 minutes left. He had 96 points on the board and zeros all the way across. Those final 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes, he came alive, opened up 2 goal opportunities for Nachito. A blistering last-second reaction to get a goal save there at the end to keep them alive. Relating Wave really showing up when I wanted and needed him to make a difference for this Endpoint squad.
Nachito with the hat trick, 3 goals on 3 shots, and boy, were they all clutch. As he, wouldn't say single-handedly, because again, Relating Wave had a lot to do with those goals, but he brings Endpoint back from kind of dire straits there in game number 1, and now for Karen on the other side, again, 3-2, the same result as game 1 of their previous series, and then they went 15 minutes without a goal, and this one has to feel especially crushing because they led for so long, and the way they gave up that lead, just not the standard of play that any of these players have set for themselves over their careers.
At 100% agree with you. The play is, unfortunately, not up to their own standards. And teams are basically taking huge advantage of that. It's the speed of play. It's the decision-making. They're accurate. They're getting there. They're making touches on the ball. But it's the decision of where they're placing that ball that seems to be the issue for them.
All 3 members of this Endpoint squad had at least 1 hat trick throughout the season. That for Nachito, ultimately his second, ties Virtuoso. What do they have for an encore in game 2 with all the momentum that comes from, not just the win in game 1, but the way they got that win. Virtuoso looking to center for Relating Wave. Didn't quite get there. So now Metsunoris down for Remco. This will be high off the backboard and well defended by Nachito. No wasted movement on the side of either Endpoint or Karen. They can't afford any right now. The ball whipping around from point to point. Does finally come to a rest in front of the goal and back the other way towards the Endpoint half. Relating Wave with Virtuoso flanking, and Magnus Sure-handed on the backboard. Redirect is going to be high and wide. And the follow-up belongs to Metsanoris. Deflects that over towards Remco and doesn't have a lot to work with, so all he'll do is bring it to the corner. Very patient on the offensive end. Will it work out? No. Relating Wave gets back in time.
The patience isn't really what they need on that offensive end. They need patience when they're on the defensive end bringing it out, not just bombing it back to the other team. But they need to get something going. They need some speed. They need to start moving. The patience isn't going to get this thing done for them.
Metsanoris, Remco to his left, and Remco no longer to his left. He'll be respawning right about now. That's for Magnus, longtime duo once upon a time, does not connect here. Now Magnus redirect's going to be wide, and no mistake made by the Endpoint defense as Virtuoso plays that off to the side. Metsanoris up a little late, and Nachito will bomb it away again. Relating Wave challenged by Magnus, but still stays with the play. No follow-up available for Karen. They have to reset back in their own end. Relating Wave trying to jam this through the corner, and Magnus swats another one away. Second save of the game for Magnus, closing in on a Savior medal just past the halfway mark. And he may get plenty more opportunities to get that third save. Nachito over to Virtuoso. Bank off the ceiling for Nachito, and that's saved away by Metsanoris this time.
It's probably not an award you're looking to get. Typically, you don't want to have to get that Savior medal. It's nice that you did, but it means that something's going wrong elsewhere, that you're allowing these opportunities to occur. And they've got to figure out how to control this ball coming out of their half. They just continually hand it off time and time again to Endpoint.
Metsanoris gets there just ahead of Relating Wave, but Vert plays this past the oncoming Remco, and it even skips by Metza as well, so Vert can play it downfield, and Metza does have to play this away, only as far as Relating Wave. Nachito waiting for a rebound. There's none as Vert blows up Remco in the net. Relating Wave give his Endpoint the lead.
Relating Wave coming up for that flip reset and just gonna barely touch it with the side of the car there to set it off course and get it around that defender. Great heads-up play, saw the defense, found the hole, and put the ball on target.
Relating Wave with the first goal for Endpoint not scored by Nachito. Pass over to Remco, but his first touch got away from him. Relating Wave makes the save. Now Virtuoso. As Metsanoris right there to contend with. And despite the demo on Relating Wave, Karen not getting many quality looks as Magnus put nothing behind the shot. Relating Wave makes the save. Metza taken out by Vert. Nachito looking to score on the other side, and Magnus scrambles back for the save.
Relating Wave actually on that save gets his Savior medal, and he's the only one to make a save so far on his side. 3 saves and 1 goal for him. One-man wrecking crew at the moment on the side of Endpoint.
A side flip from Vert, you thought that might have killed off the attack, but the ball wasn't cleared away, so he still got a shot off. Metza for Remco looking for the tie. No, still floating towards the net, but Relating Wave will just pop one up. That's well read by Magnus, but he couldn't get the touch he was looking for, so Metsanoris just has to play one off to the side. It is not looking good defensively. It's not looking good on either side of the field for Karen as they come down to the final countdown in Game 2. One last chance to tie this game. Otherwise, they're looking at their 4th shutout of the day, and it has come to pass. Endpoint with a 1-0 victory in Game 2.
Just looking for something to happen on that side for them to piece it together, but they continually go to this clear out play style. They're playing for big clears, which isn't working. They have to change this at some point. You need to recognize that what you're doing is not working. It's not getting the job done, and change that up. They typically are clearing this either off the sidewall into the mid or straight down the middle of the field. Very rarely are they just taking it down the sideline or trying to create an opportunity. And this is just giving shot after shot after shot to Endpoint. And you can't do that, especially when you're not succeeding defensively and that's one of your issues. If you're not going to fix that, at least speed your offense up to a point to where you can get pressure. Take it down once and then crank the dial to 12 and just stay in the offensive half, because the defensive half isn't working for you.
Here's just a taste of some of the history that is being written right now. Only one player has ever been relegated out of the RLCS in back-to-back seasons. That, of course, being a lot just a few seasons ago. Still found his way back into the league every time. Now his former teammate Magnus trying to avoid a similar fate. Nobody has been relegated out of the league 3 times in total. Magnus is in jeopardy of having that happen right here. He's down 0-2 alongside Remco and Metsanoris as we kick off game number 3. Remco looking for an early goal for Karen and an opportunity, but nobody there to capitalize after the mistouch on the defensive backboard. Nachito trying to force one through, and Metza will have this. Magnus is there as well, and nobody could get there. Still on the goal line and dunked down by Relating Wave.
Relating Wave coming up off the top here, hits the backboard, jumps back down, doesn't even jump back down, I'm sorry, he just started boosting immediately and nosedives that ball and gets it back in. What a reaction time from Relating Wave.
Just stomping the ball down into the goal, and that is how things start. A very inauspicious start for Karen as they fall down early. Virtuoso, stopped by Magnus. Metza popping one up for Remco, but he's whipped on it, so Metza has to play this with Virtuoso demoing Magnus behind him. Remco to pop one up, and there is Nachito there to follow the play. Nachito trying to take this away from Magnus, almost picked his pocket. This will get downfield towards the endpoint end, but not a whole lot happening for Karen. That shot in the general direction of the net, but that's it. Relating Wave trying to go over Magnus. Virtuoso staying with this play. Metsanoris makes the stop, and now Remco can boom it away. He's got Magnus thinking about going downfield, but Relating Wave got there first. Just a combination of being outpaced by Endpoint, a little bit of indecisiveness as well. Now Remco on an empty net, off the post. This has to go in, and it does.
Close one here for Remco. He had to have just been clinching so hard on this one as it goes in. From his angle, it looked like it was probably going to bounce out. He was making a play to try and catch it. Luckily for him, it catches just enough of the inside of that post that it does go in as it crosses the goal line from right to left.
Oh, Magnus almost got another cheap one there off the kickoff. That would have been huge for Karen. But Endpoint saves that off, and now here's Nachito. Wide turn to get around Magnus, and he flicked that way off to the corner. Now Relating Wave. Up high, Magnus easily deflects to the corner. Remco circling around in the net, looking for boost. He's got some. Now he can use that boost to chase this downfield alongside Metsanoris. I think he got spun out there at midfield. That double commit from Endpoint, not what they're looking for, but it doesn't cost them after yet another whip at midfield. Right angle, almost in from Relating Wave.
It was almost a disgusting shot. Great attempt there from Relating Wave. Just off as it catches the post. Doesn't have the same luck as Remco to get that one to bounce in.
Nachito's picked his spot, but it is well wide. And now Remco just rolling one past Relating Wave off to the corner. Cut out by Metsanoris, but all that does is give possession back to Endpoint, angling down, and Magnus does well to at least get this out of harm's way. This will waterfall down, and Metsanoris is there again. He has struggled on the defensive end at times, but he has been solid in this game. Magnus can't make this save. The crossbar does. Metsanoris from the ceiling of the goal does get a deflection there. Karen hanging on by a thread. That lack of communication, though, for Endpoint will bail out Karen for now. Magnus around one, but Relating Wave is there. Metza waiting. Ball jammed up in the corner. Remco patiently waiting. Now he can make a challenge, but this goes right to Relating Wave again. And more offense for Endpoint. Trying to make it 3-0 in the series. Down to 90 seconds. Metza out of his own corner. Look at all the cars jumbled up in that corner for Karen. The spacing significantly better for Endpoint, though it hasn't been this whole game. Relating wave over to Virtuoso, trying to run interference in the net. Nothing doing there. And Nachito will try to drop this off for relating wave, and he can't find it. We're getting to the final minute here, and for Karen, the way that this day is gone, perhaps just wondering when something else is going to go against them. Virtuoso, big drive is high, and Magnus credited with the save nonetheless.
This match is a lot closer than the previous ones that we watched for them so far, but it's only that way because Karen is playing so heavy defensively. They did get the one goal. I think they're just trying to play for another missed opportunity in rotation from Endpoint, and they seem content with just staying and controlling the ball on their end of the field until that opportunity presents itself, which has really caused a slowdown in the pace of this match. Relating wave almost sneaks that one in off the back wall.
Remco cut out by Nachito, and a chance now for Karen. Of course, they may have seen Solari earlier scoring on empty nets because of just lack of defensive rotations on the part of Endpoint, trying to take advantage of that. It has not worked out here, and now finally we will go to overtime. I believe the first overtime of the day.
I believe you are right. I don't think we have seen an overtime yet today. Not one that I can recall. We definitely didn't cast one in the last series.
No.
I don't remember one from the first series.
This will pop out. Relating wave denied by Metza. Nachito's still there. He will stay with the play, but he runs into Metza. That'll slow his efforts down, so Vert has to take over. All the way to the opposite corner. Relating wave looking for boost, perhaps. Now Nachito. Decent challenge in midfield. Vert got the demo, but Relating couldn't come up. He had to stop Magnus's effort. Now with the full tank. Back the other way. He's burning all of it. And Metza gets up for the stop. Magnus trying to skip one by Virtuoso. Demoed by Nachito. Physical defense working out for Endpoint. Can Metza get here first? No, Relating wave does. Virtuoso's there in the corner. They are getting a little clumped up, and there will be nobody there for that pass as a result.
That was Virtuoso's fifth bump and demo, and as he comes in to look for another one, he actually ends up bopping Relating Wave back into the opponent's goal. Missed there from Relating Wave, and that's going to open it up for Remco, and Karen are going to take down the first match of the day for themselves. It's not the first match of the day. First match for them.
Yeah, they get their first win of the day, and it's Remco who comes through. Something had to give eventually. They were so close. They were hovering over the goal line all throughout the day. Finally get one across the line. Remco scoring his third of the day, second of the series, end game. And what a huge lift for Karen. Again, facing relegation here. The loser of this series is out of the RLCS. This is a battle for survival as much as anything else. Karen on the board, still down in the series 2-1 though, and now we kind of turn our attention to Endpoint because despite all the opportunities they had, Supersonic, including 6 from Virtuoso, he couldn't find the back of the net, and that's a little scary because Vert's the guy you want to see lighting up the scoreboard.
Vert's one of the guys. Relating Wave is that guy typically for their team. He is the one that does he's the highest percentage of goals, highest percentage of assists, and highest percentage of saves. And he's that guy that you never want out. And unfortunately, that match ended due to Virtuoso bumping Relating Wave and causing the entire team to have to try and scamper back as fast as they could to keep up with that ball, and they weren't able to make a clean touch on it. Had that bump not happened, it would have gone the other way, but Virtuoso was just demo hungry that match with 5 of them and was going in for his 6th, and unfortunately took out Relating Wave. That's the guy. If you're going to hit one of them, hit Nachito. Don't take Relating Wave out of the play. He's been the man for you so far today, and he was throughout the season, so make sure you don't take him out.
A fresh 5 minutes on the clock as we head over to Utopia. And a chance for Karen to build off that W and perhaps tie up the series. They are not going to want to have to play defense, in air quotes, like that. Magnus. Oh, that's a awkward spot for Nachito to be in, but Virtuoso gets back with a save. He can try to find Relating Wave, but Metanoris is up ahead of him. Vert with another boom downfield, intercepted by Magnus, and he'll have to give way to Metanoris. The problem is Magnus burned a lot of boost before Metza called him off.
Nice
Relating Wave
touch.
to Virtuoso.
Whoa.
Off the corner. A near miss from Endpoint. This is not the type of defense that Karen wants to be playing throughout this game. It's starting to look very shaky like it did in the previous series.
Magnus is ball chasing hard right there, just kind of throwing himself at it at ones that he didn't have a chance of getting back to, and that's not something you want to see. You just got the win. You should be getting more comfortable after that. That should take your nerves level down, but it feels like Magnus might still be on edge just a touch there as he tries to chase the ball around.
Magnus there just ahead of Relating Wave. Now relating downfield for the feed from Vert, and the save made by Remco. There's a demo on Magnus, though. Metza could be next. No, Vert instead going across the way, and Nachito couldn't get a shot on. Now Vert, he'll whiff on this, maybe expecting Magnus to get a touch, as this will drop right down to Remco. He's just about giving it away to Nachito. Relating Wave did get bumped by Magnus, dropped down anyways to Vert, and Endpoint scores first again.
There we go. That's what you want. Relating Wave. Beautiful pass here as he gets it down right on the nose of Virtuoso. He sneaks it over one, under the other two, and out to the side. And that's got to feel good for Bird after those two missed opportunities where he put one into the corner that came out of that upper 90, and then that missed open net opportunity off the back wall where he whiffed on that rebound. Immediately, though, gets to feel great about it as he puts that one away off of Relating Wave.
Endpoint scores first again. Now they have to hold on for at least half a game now. Relating Wave trying to get one under towards Virtuoso, instead rolled one towards Magnus. Magnus can follow this play, but Nachito disrupts. Now Remco, one more touch to get over to Metza, and he's on the board again.
Metanoris gonna show up. He was definitely somebody that was one of the bigger issues in their opening series against Solari, but he is starting to find a stride here against Team Endpoint as he puts that one beautifully into that upper 90 on that left side.
So watch out off the kickoff. Relating Wave just misses, but Virtuoso changed directions on that shot, and barely getting there was Metanoris. He had one defender beat. Metza got there just in time. Now Nachito over Magnus, but Remco's right there. Vert, follow-up, looking for Relating Wave. I think he might have been between shot and pass, and instead he just put it right at Remco. Downfield is Relating Wave again, but he couldn't get to Magnus in time. Now Magnus, all he can do is drop one down, lateral pass out to Relating Wave. That's going to float high. Metanoris swipes it away. Nachito will be there with a full tank of boost, but he won't get to use it. Metanoris took him out. Remco chasing after this. Burned all his boost, didn't get the ball. Now Metza. Dropped down, Relating Wave, couldn't stop it. Virtuoso does. Nachito gonna score this? No, he came very close, but it's an open net thanks to the big demo in front, and Relating Wave gives Endpoint the lead again.
Yeah, Virtuoso gonna get that bump. Nachito with a near miss that's just gonna drop that ball right out in the open. Easy bucket for Relating Wave.
3 goals each now for Nachito and Relating Wave. Endpoint back on top in game 4. Virtuoso circling around, disrupted by Metza. Now to be Relating Wave up against Remco. Got by him. Metza coming on as well. Virtuoso got a piece of this. Remco missed, but Magnus is right there. He'll roll one up the back wall, kick one out. Remco coming on. It looked like Metza was playing decoy, and the save still made by Virtuoso.
That's that. Virtuoso did get the save there, but it seems to be an issue that happens a lot. Virtuoso seems to be that guy on defense that just throws himself at the ball time and time again. There's no calling off. He tends to overcommit, and he goes ahead and causes double commit situations, which luckily they haven't been punished for very much, but he does create these opportunities that may eventually go that way.
Remco waiting for the rebound, almost converted, but he's denied by Virtuoso, and Relating Wave will throw him downfield, testing the transition defense of Karen. Vert trying to get around on a ball to keep it somewhat centered. Remco there to battle with him. Now Relating Wave, he'll just rotate out as Metsanora should have this ball. It does only go as far as Vert, as the final seconds will tick away. A game that is kind of snuck up on us here. The clock has hit 0, and it has reached 3-1 for Endpoint. Seemed like a lot more action in that game, Supersonic, compared to other games in the series, but it is still Endpoint who comes out on top, and now they're 1 win away from prolonging their life in the RLCS, at least through the lower bracket.
Yeah, definitely the team kind of came alive here. At least Karen came alive to get up there and match with Endpoint after getting that previous match win in the last round. 8 shots up this time, which is, when you look at the stats for the day for what Karen's been putting up, that's an astronomical difference. They are putting up shots. They're getting offensive pressure going. They're getting down the field, which is really what you have to do. If you're not getting down the field and taking shots, you're never going to put the numbers on the board, and they are finally finding a rhythm and getting down there. They're committing to shots. That second man, Metsanara, coming through and putting that shot beautifully in that top corner. They're involved, they're engaged, they look like they want to play. They're just not quite piecing it all together yet, but it's coming together. I expect them to carry this over into the next match, and hopefully we get a great round out of this next one.
A far cry from their series during league play, which Endpoint won 3-0, and they outscored what was TSM at the time 10-1 in that series. Karen putting up much more of a fight here. They are making Endpoint earn it. So far, they're 1 win away from doing exactly that. Another 5 minutes on the clock. It could be the end of Karen in the RLCS, unless they can come up with 3 in a row. This is banking towards the Endpoint net, and Relating Wave will deflect it away. That is how things start between Endpoint and Karen in Game 5. Nachito has Virtuoso willing to turn around at midfield and chase this to the corner. One more touch needed to center. Relating Wave comes up to play as well, and Metsanora will boom it away. Nachito has Virtuoso coming on after a demo on Metza, looking for Remco as well. Could not get him. This is something the old Discombobulators did all throughout the Rival Series season. It's why they got to the RLCS in the first place. Lots of demos, lots of bumps, and they just force bad defensive rotations because of it. It has gotten them to this point, up 3-1 in the series. Relating Wave up high, and they are really trying to take advantage of that kind of that waterfall effect with the ball coming straight down from the curvature there near the ceiling. They've seen Metza's misplayed it a couple times. Karen as a whole has had trouble playing that ball. They've scored a couple goals this series off it.
One of the things that you were talking about a moment ago is this demo-heavy play from Discombobulators, and really the guy that leads that charge for them is Virtuoso. 2 demos so far in this round, 5 in the previous, 3 in this round as he takes Magnus off the field. And I actually read something that he had said previously, and people had asked him about why it didn't work the same for him in RLCS. And basically his response was, it's a little bit harder to go and do that to players at the RLCS level when they know it's coming. But he doesn't seem to have that issue here today with Karen, as he has just been removing them from the field time and time and time again. And again.
Bert takes out Metsanora. Nachito with a drive, and Magnus makes that save. Metsanora will finish off the clearance attempt and get a little help from Remco as well.
And again.
Yes, another one. Nachito right at Metza. That's easily saved away. Remco in transition. This will be off to the side. Metza cannot get the ball centered as Relating Wave beats him to the punch, and then Virtuoso comes in, and he took over. Don't think he called him off, so this will go off to the corner, and Endpoint be in a bit of a pickle defensively. Magnus, shot on. Saved by Relating Wave. Here's Remco looking to center for Metzanorris. Magnus is waiting. He'll be called on here, but all he can do is sky one up to the side. Does get the ball in front. Finally, Nachito. Nobody was actually at the net, but Nachito comes in from midfield to play it away.
Been such a battle so far, back and forth in the midfield and kind of out wide in the corners. None of these shots really ever getting in front of the net. Only 4 shots total between the two teams so far in the opening 3 minutes of this series. Somebody's got to figure out how to get this ball actually in front of the net and get a clean look.
Virtuoso is not that someone on this occasion, but Remco could be. Over to Metzanorris, and Nachito intercepts. Now quickly back the other way. One-on-one, Virtuoso and Magnus got a piece of him, and Virtuoso slits it by.
And of course it comes off of a bump play, because there is no play that Virtuoso's in without making contact with his car on someone else's. Comes through, gets the bump, looking for that demo, knocks him out of the way. Beautiful goal from Virtuoso.
They averaged something silly like 3.5 to 4 demos a game when they were in the rival series a season ago. And a bump play could be what prolongs their life here in the promotion tournament. Magnus trying to challenge Nachito. Does force this through. Metza waiting, and he'll have to scramble all the way across, and Relating Wave still beat him there. 1 minute could be all that's left of Karen in the RLCS unless they can find an answer. Metza. Well, Remco jumped, and Metza played it right by him. Virtuoso keeping this alive on the side. Magnus does force it through, and Relating Wave there to make one save. Nobody home though, and Magnus is going to get credit for this goal.
They are going to catch the Endpoint kind of slipping there. Relating Wave out in the corner looking for boost. Looks like Nachito was on the other side. Nobody home on net. Forces that quick reaction, reflex instinct kind of save out of Relating Wave where he didn't have control over where he was putting it, and ends up throwing it right back into Karen.
The last win, often the most difficult by far to get. Just ask E United from yesterday. Magnus open net, and Nachito almost got there. It's a demo play that opens things up for Karen.
Not expected. Karen with the demo bump play to start things, or to kick things off here to get that 2-1 in the final minute. And things have turned around. Immediately out of nowhere, we've got 2-1, and they are up with 30 seconds left on the clock. Finally alive. I like seeing the aggressive play and the bumps come out. Match that pace and that aggression from Endpoint, and you're seeing them get involved here. I don't know if that was instigated there by Metzanorris or Virtuoso, but Virtuoso's going to get his 5th demo of the game out of that one.
Well, there's Vert getting another one on Metza. Will it open things up? This is deflected deep into the Karen zone. Now Metzanorris throwing one downfield. Remco got it by Relating Wave, and Karen still has life.
And they do. They have a bit of life left in them. It seemed like some sort of switch went off and clicked into place there at the end. Magnus getting involved with 2 shots that he puts on net. Bump plays to get things open. We saw Metzanorris start colliding with Virtuoso. A couple demos there. They end up trading those. But they're matching that aggression that's working so well for Endpoint and throwing their game right back in their face. And that appears to be working for them. They need to try and bring that level of energy and that level of just wanting to get it done into this next match. They've got another 2 rounds to go here, and they're gonna have to show up. I don't think Endpoint is gonna make this easy on them.
F-Dot asked the question of Johnny Boy and Spaceman before we got into this. Did you see a sweep or a match going the distance? And now we are so much closer, closing in on Game 7. Karen's got to hang on for one more to force that 7th and decisive game. It looked like they were dead in the water with about a minute left, but just like Endpoint came back in Game 1, Karen comes back to steal victory from the jaws of defeat in Game 5. Now we go to Game 6. Still a must-win on Wasteland for Karen, unless Endpoint can punch their ticket into the lower finals. Nachito denied by Metza. This is the defensive Metzanorris. that TSM/Karen has been looking for a while.
So my question to you is now, do you think it's more likely Endpoint ends it here, or are we going to get the Game 7?
Boy, dude, with all the cards on the table, I'd have to imagine Endpoint still the favorite on paper. But never underestimate a player like Remco in this position. He has been a survivor all throughout his career. Third time he's been in this promotion tournament, he's yet to relegate yet. Metsonoris looking for Magnus. He got spun out by Relating Wave. Relating Wave in an awkward spot, though. Virtuoso may be called on. No, it'll be Nachito off the backboard, but that goes right to Magnus, over to Metza, and Virtuoso breaks it up. Relating Wave lob over to Magnus. Could be trouble, as Nachito couldn't keep the play alive, but Vert could. Didn't get a whole lot behind this, and Remco does have it cleared.
There's a lot of moments here, I talked about it earlier, where Relating Wave is getting cut off. It was typically by Virtuoso, and they end up in these kind of odd double commit situations, which is why Relating Wave was in that weird position when you talked about it. That time, it was actually the fault of Nachito coming through to take that one away. That tends to be where they're getting out of pace. Relating Wave tends to get cut off, and it just throws their defensive rotation off, and they don't end up doing that double commit situation to them too often on the offensive end. It only seems to happen to them defensively. They panic to try and get there to stop the ball.
Pinball's out of the corner, and Relating Wave can't clear it yet. Nachito can. Magnus got to get up there above the crossbar, and he does make the stop. Now Metsonoris in a tough spot. He brought that to the middle, and Remco's right there to help him out. Quickly downfield comes Karen. To the ceiling, Remco, but Nachito's there. This could be right at Magnus. He gets around Nachito. Needs some help on the other side. None is there, so Metsonoris will play it at midfield. Karen not getting too aggressive, trying to make sure they don't give up any cheap goals. It has kept them alive to this point. Nachito, though, this kisses the ceiling, and Magnus is right there for it. Now Remco dropped down. Nobody there to help him out, so Virtuoso has a booming clear. Metsonoris gets demoed again. So too does Magnus. It's a chance. Now as Remco and Metza run into each other. And then a bump as well from Vert, and Relating Wave scores.
Virtuoso with that demo straight into a bump on Metsonoris, and then another bump onto Remco as he just removes the entire team from the play. Karen is gone. Manager would have none of it. Virtuoso, the manager, to make sure Karen is kept in check.
And a miss by Remco off that back corner. But it is not trouble, as Karen can get downfield. Magnus from the side can't barrel through and get the ball in front. Now to be Nachito just getting there ahead of Metsonoris. Magnus in a tough spot. Slows the ball down best he can. Virtuoso looking for blood again. Now to be Relating Wave, stuffed by Magnus. Nachito with a pinch. Remco, well play that. That is well done on the defensive side by Remco and Karen. So once again, similar spot for Karen. Their RLCS lives flashing before their eyes. About the time where they came alive last game to steal that game. Virtuoso challenged by Metza. It'll be Remco racing against Relating Wave. Vert trying to play one further for Relating, and he does get by Magnus. Metsonoris staying with the play. And in the final minute, Karen does not concede what would have been maybe a back-breaking goal.
Yeah, almost an own goal there. Magnus able to get back there and knock that one away. Saves it out of a dangerous position. They need to turn this up. They've got to find something here. 30 seconds remaining in Karen's RLCS lifespan.
Oh, they got a demo on Nachito. The Relating Wave does get back. The shot was wide. A great opportunity there for the ex-TSM, but now Virtuoso gonna bury the dagger right between the eyes.
Virtuoso, the man that has stepped up to just talk to him the whole series. Bumps, demos, removing players from plays, getting assists, and now putting another bucket up to his name in the final seconds of this match, which may have just sealed the fate of Karen.
Karen's got to go the length of the field. They almost brought one back from this position last series. But Relating Wave has possession, has one more shot. Time has run out on TSM, on Karen. Remco, Metza, and Magnus have relegated out of the RLCS as Endpoint stays alive.